Okay, so today I figured that I wanted to do a little bit of programming. So I'm only going to keep this relatively short just because it's like I'm not hugely familiar in it. I want to make sure I have things figured out for what I'm going to be doing. But I'm going to be doing some Minecraft modding. I have some things already kind of set up and ready to go. Like I created a directory and I have an idea for the mod. I'd like to point out that I don't know much about Minecraft modding, so a good chunk of this is going to be me just kind of tinkering and figuring out how things are going to go. But yeah, we'll see how things are. So I have the name picked out and it's lock and key, and I have a Git repository kind of set up already. So we can take a look at what we got here. I'm going to be using GitHub, which is why you can kind of see I have in the background the GitHub client, and then I have the GitHub shell. But if you look, you can see that I have created a license, and the license is going to be the MIT license for open source. And then I have a README file for the basics of the project and what I'm hoping to be able to do, but a lot of it's just ideas, so it may not all come out. But now we actually need to get started. So first step is to get the stuff that we need for writing a Forge mod, and I have the Forge MDK downloaded already. So we just need to unzip it here. Alright, so that gave us a whole bunch of files. We don't actually need quite a few of these, so let's just get rid of a few. We don't need any of the text files. I'm on Windows so for this, and I'm used to doing things on Linux, so I'll do some random Linux commands, but that's fine. That should be it for now. We can also, we'll add a few files that I know are not going to change, like the gitignore file, Gradle, and our Gradle wrappers. Think what else? Oh yeah, that should be fine. Alright, so now the next step is we need to actually set up the project for Forge. So for that we are going to be using Gradle as our build system, and Gradle is a really nice tool. I can't get into too much about it, I don't use it much myself, but that's what Forge uses, so that's what we're going to use. So Gradle w.bat and Gradle w are the wrapper scripts that are provided by Forge for using Gradle, in case you don't have Gradle installed on your system, and I do not have it installed on my system, so we're going to be using the wrapper. We're going to pass it a series of tasks that we want it to perform to set things up. The first thing is the setup decomp workspace, which will decompile Minecraft and allows people to see the code. You don't technically need to do this. There's a few other ways you could do things, but I like being able to see the code. And then we're telling it to do the idea task, which is to set it up for IntelliJ, which is the editor I will be using. The other option is Eclipse, but I kind of like IntelliJ more. So we run that. I'm not sure how long this will take. Hopefully not too long. If it does, I'll just cut it. But so far it seems to be going pretty quick. Okay. Yeah, so what this is going to do is it's going to download the dependencies we need for running Gradle on our system, and it's going to also download the dependencies that Forge itself needs, which is things like MCP and ASM and various other libraries. It's going to download those, get those set up, and then it's going to decompile Minecraft for us. And after it's decompiled Minecraft, it's going to set up the various project files that we need to be able to actually create our mod. And then after that we can do things like building and updating and all sorts of fun stuff, but first thing you got to do is you got to get a decompiled version of Minecraft. So you'll see that it's saying that it's skipping some of these steps. That's because I've already kind of run this a few times on my system, so it has some of the things cached already, so it doesn't need to redo things that it's already done, which is really nice. If you've ever done things with Ant, unless you go out of your way, Ant isn't always the best at not redoing things that it's already done. So this is kind of nice. So now we're on to decompiling Minecraft. Alright, so it's just getting finished up. It's just downloading right now the actual assets for like the images, models, and all that good stuff. So it should be done in just a second. Now it's getting the IntelliJ environment set up. And alright, there we go. Build successful. That's what I wanted to see. So now we can actually launch our project in IntelliJ. So we'll open that up. It should be launching. And of course the screen goes black as that happens. That didn't open up the way I thought it would. Let's try this. Nope, that didn't do it. I will make this visible. It is the last thing I do. There we go. Okay. So we have this. So this is IntelliJ. I have mine set to a dark theme, but you can do whatever you like. Then, let me just see if I can, well, whatever. That'll be good enough. Alright, so we're getting some notifications here. We want to have it know that we have Git as our thing. Okay, and then I like to be able to see the project tab. Okay. So we have some things that's generated. It generated all of these, which are for IntelliJ, and it generated these build and Eclipse files and all that, but don't need to worry too much about any of these things. But we do want to look at this. So this is my basic design plan. I suppose it's a little bit hard to read. Let's see. I know there's a way to zoom in. That maybe? Oh, yeah, that'll work. Alright, so lock and key is the title. This is all written in Markdown. I'm not going to go into a tutorial on how you do Markdown, but it is pretty easy to learn and pick up. So as it says, this is a Forge mod. It adds locks and keys for doors and chests, and it's really, really heavily based upon the mod Better Storage by CopyGirl / CopyBoy. And I liked Better Storage, but they made some changes towards like more recent times that I didn't quite like, and it had some limitations even when I did play with it a lot. So I kind of wanted to see if I could make my own. So here are the design goals. We want it to be compatible with 1.8 for sure. So I'm starting right away on that. I'm not going to do 1.7.10 because it's a new project. There's no reason to start with an older version of Minecraft. I want to have compatibility with 1.9 once we have a Forge version for that. I want to right off the bat support all vanilla blocks. So that's small chests, large chests, wooden doors, and wooden iron double doors. Then I want locks and keys are going to be linked together, so keys can only open up certain locks depending on how they're made, and locks and keys can be color-coded so that you can look and visually tell them apart. I mean, I know you can name things using the anvil, but sometimes it's nice just to have different colors. I'm only going to do the base 16 colors that you can come with Minecraft. Better Storage allowed you to have like 32,767 colors. It's a little bit extreme. Just going to allow the different colors you can get from dyes. Maybe I'll add multiple bands, so you could have more options. Like you could have a red, red, blue banded key or something. But that'll be more for later. And again, I don't want to be able to mix colors and get like a slightly reddish green color or something weird like that. Locks can be removed from like chests and doors if you shift right click with a appropriate key. Keys and locks can be copied, so that way if you want to make a base that you're going to share with somebody else, you can make a copy of your key and give it to that other person. Locks can be picked using a lock pick. Not going to be 100% chance. Certain lockpicks are going to be better than others, so you can make them out of different materials. Like maybe I can make one that's wooden and one version that's iron, and the iron one will be better than the wood one. If you're successful, the lock is just removed from whatever block it was on. Lockpicks can break, so if you fail, there's a chance that it'll get damaged. If it gets enough damage, it'll break. Different materials have better chances of being successful and less chance of being destroyed. I wonder what this button does. Oh, yeah, let's not do that. Locks and keys themselves can also break, so just like in real life, if you're using a key, you have a chance you might be able to break it or damage it or scuff it. So that's something you'll have to keep in mind. Better materials won't get damaged as often, and they can take more damage. Picking a lock, you have a small chance of breaking the lock. This is just so you can kind of tell, like, oh, somebody was in here. Locks and keys and picks can be each made of different materials. Like I said before, I would like to be able to enchant them, so you might have like shock if on a lock, so that if somebody tries to pick it, they get shocked, or various other things. Then keys can also be enchanted, but the only good enchant I can think of right now is that you can make it more durable and less likely to break. Keys, I would like you to be able to group them together and put them on a key ring so you can keep things more organized. Provide like a skeleton key for ops and admins so they can unlock all doors. I suppose I could. I can't. Oh yeah, I can. Some village chests would be cool to make it so they spawn with locks. Same thing with chests in the mines and dungeons as well. And then I'd love to be able to support other mods, which Better Storage doesn't really have anymore. So being able to put a chest, an iron chest with a lock on it, or be able to use Thaumcraft Thaumium to make locks and keys and picks. So it's my general goal. So I don't know what I just did. Exit presentation mode. Okay. So what were we provided? That's our goal. We were given a sample mod, and we were given some build options. So we'll start with the build options. And once again, that is fairly unreadable. I am not terribly familiar with IntelliJ, so bear with me. It's probably in the settings. Oh, there we go. Editor, general appearance. Oh, and I saw it too. There we go. Let's make this 18. Huh. It's supposed to be like a... Okay. Oh. Increase font size. It's a little bit better. I'll have to find the hotkey for this. Do it a little bit larger yet. Okay, that ought to be good enough. Alright. So the build.gradle file basically provides you with options for when Gradle actually builds it. So we can set like our version. We're going to start with, version 0.0.0, and then we make our mod group, which is just going to be for us our Java path. So we'll make that lock and key, and then set the archive base name. That's our version of Minecraft and Forge. And I think that's all we have to tweak for that. So then the next thing is we want to edit our mcmod.info file. So this allows you to tell Forge a little bit about your mod. And so we'll give it our mod ID, we'll give it our human-friendly name, give it a basic description, and then it pulls our version, a Minecraft version, from the build.gradle file. Give it a URL. We don't have an update URL. Give it an author, credits. Can't spell. There we go. So that is that. So then the final thing we need to do is create our actual package. So they provided one, but it's not what we want. So that's our package, and we can delete this guy. I don't know why it always fights to stay alive. Okay. So now we can make our actual mod class. So call it the name of the mod. We do not want it to add right away. We don't want the Java docs. Okay, so Forge kind of took the Pojo, plain old Java objects style of development, so you don't have to subclass anything specific. You just need to add some decorators and annotations to your class, and then it becomes a mod. So let's add one of those. So we add the mod annotation, and we give it mod ID. And we want to give it a name. We'll fix these errors in a second. And then we also want to suppress this warning. Alright, so now we technically have a mod we can run, but it's not going to be... Oh, no we don't. We have to add public static final string mod ID. And these should probably be pulled from like the build.gradle file or something like that, but I haven't figured out quite how to do that yet. So I will get to that at some point. And because this is bad, we want to make a note of it. Because we don't want that to have to be updated. You don't want to have to update one property multiple times, because that's just asking for trouble. So that should fix all of our build problems. Okay, so now we could in theory run this as a mod, but it just wouldn't be very interesting. So let's try and do something more with this. We need to add some of this stuff is just things that Forge kind of requires. You just kind of have to do it. And we want to add... We also need we can add that later. We need to add some basic event handlers. So our first one is going to be for handling the first stage of when a mod loads, and that is the pre-init event. And technically the name doesn't really matter. I could name this whatever, but just for the sake of making things more clear, I'm going to name it that. Since this is just using the Pojo style, you can name it whatever you would like, so long as the signature itself matches what it's expecting, which is just that it takes the special initialization event and returns void. But I think this looks nicer. And we have our init and then post init. So these are the three events that I think we need to worry about. So yeah, we have again a working mod. We could run this, but it wouldn't be interesting. So this is great and wonderful, but there are going to be times where you need to worry about loading things up that are different between client and server. So the way that Forge recommends you handle this is by using a proxy class. So let's create a new package, call it proxy, and we're going to create an interface because this is Java and Java likes interfaces. We'll call it iProxy. And for now, since we're going to be mostly just adding items more than blocks or anything, we're just going to add a method we'll fill in later called register items. And then we'll go back here and we'll say at sided proxy, and we'll say client side is going to have some class that we haven't defined yet, and the server side will have some thing that we haven't decided yet. And we say public static iProxy, and we say we want this to be called, we'll just call it proxy. And again, doesn't really matter what you name it, what you name your interface, doesn't care. All it cares about is that it has this sided proxy on it. So, we're going to want a base implementation, and this can be common proxy, which has features that are common between client and server, which for now is going to be everything. And it's going to implement iProxy, and then we'll have it implement the methods that are missing. And for now, we'll have to put it to do add items. Wonderful. And we can tell it to suppress warnings unused, because we will never have to make an implementation of this ourselves. Forge does that for us. So we'll tell it that we want to use proxy.common proxy. We'll use this for both for now until we get to a situation where we have something different that needs to happen. Alright, wonderful. Okay, and we'll believe that we want to do our registering of items in the pre-initialization phase. I think that's what needs to happen. The final thing well, we can't really do that yet. Let's just try and run it and make sure that this is all fine and hunky-dory. Tell it to do Minecraft client, and then I'll make sure you can actually see it. So it's building. Shouldn't take too long. And we'll kind of center this a little bit. There we go. So as you can see, since we're using 1.8, we get this nice loading screen. That's not. Stopped updating. I mean, I can see it works fine on my side. I don't know why it's not. Oh, I know what it is. We'll remove that quick. It's because it's a game capture for the software that I'm using. There we go. So it launched itself. We'll turn down the audio for now. We don't need any of the music on. Sure. But the important part is, did the mod load? Yeah, there it is. We don't have, oh, we have the version sort of right. I'll have to look into that. But the important stuff is there. So we have the beginnings of our mod. Next go around, I will work on adding the like the first item that we can work with. But if we can commit this now. Let me pull up the GitHub client. So we have a bunch of files. We want to add most everything here, I think. Yeah, so we'll add all of this. Sure. Alright, commit that. And push it. I think that's okay. I think that's good. Let me just double check. Yeah. Alright, so that's all there. Sweet. Alright, so that'll be it for now. Next time we'll add in an item. Yeah, so see you guys later.